Hi, everybody. Welcome to Teaching Crypto here, AZ Crypto, first edition 2025. Please hit that like, that subscribe, bell notification, and super chats are available. Mr. FOMO, last time we talked, BTC was struggling a bit at 93K, and we've made a run back in the 98K. Right now, we're sitting around 97K. And so far, a decent recovery, right? Just the beginning, though, because usually after halvings, the year after, the full year after, is the heart of the bull run, right? So this is what we've been all waiting for. This is where the alts, not only BTC, but the alts finally make a run of it. And so we're going to talk about that because ETH in the month of January, ladies and gentlemen, after the halving, normally does very, very well. So we'll talk about that. But what are your thoughts on Bitcoin right now sitting around 97.6?
We're still in a perfect scenario. We haven't dropped below 90, which would put us in kind of a free fall because there's not a lot of levels of support in the 80s. So we escaped that by bumping back up after we hit 92, 93. But I think we're in perfect position for a launch into the hundreds again. We've seen some strength building this week as the new year started. And I fully expect to see more strength as the new year gets going because like you said, that first full year after the halving is when the bread and butter of the bull run happens. And so I am looking forward to a strong 2025, and I'm looking forward to it starting this week. Like, I think this bull run is going to get going this week, and you're going to see some explosive movement in Bitcoin first, then the altcoins will follow. But I think this week you're going to see some movement, and we're going to be happy again because we will be back above 100K. And I think we might get back above 100K for the final time and stay above 100K.
That would be amazing. Now, Michael Saylor is meeting with the Trump administration. The inauguration now is about 3 weeks away. A Bitcoin national reserve could be 3 weeks away. And I like your prediction. I can see, could we have a little bit of a mini dump before then? Maybe, but I think we've seen it. I mean, the price has been, knocked down a bit for several reasons. We talked about a holiday hole. I think we got it. And here we go. When Michael Saylor says things like this, okay, that this is hyperbole, obviously, but he is meeting with the Trump administration. That is pretty important. I do think we're going to see a Bitcoin reserve. How quickly? Is it an executive order on day one? I can't promise you that by any means. Who knows? A lot of politicians make a lot of promises they don't keep. But I think there's momentum here. And I think you're going to see Bitcoin in the news a lot over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And I agree with you. I like Bitcoin. I like ETH. Some of the alts we're going to talk about a little later in the show. I think it's finally time for them to shine up again. We've had a little bit of a lull. And here we go. Just to give our viewers an idea, January through April, March, if you want to be a little more conservative, is some of the most volatile action. We're talking about the January through March/April after the halving. There are some ups and downs. It's not up every single day, but this is where you can see a coin do a 50% increase, even a 2x in less than 24 hours. Yes, it can happen. We saw Cardano, which is one of the biggest tokens, do a 3x in less than 4 days last cycle. So this is where you got to keep it to the show because things are going to go fast. I'm going to tell you a token a little bit later that has already started to heat up over the last 24 hours. I think is in for an epic 4 to 6 weeks. But Mr. FOMO, you're seeing it. Dogecoin made a nice little run here, but things are slowly starting to pick up. And I think you're right. I think this week could be crazy. But is it possible Mr. Saylor knows something that he's not giving away here? But this is he normally doesn't make these type of statements that he's going to do. What do you think he means by this? He's going to take it into the heavens, the price.
I think that as he continues to buy, as he continues to gobble up the available Bitcoin, and he's not the only one doing this. He's just getting a lot of the press for this, but there are other Bitcoin miners. There are other whales who are gobbling up Bitcoin as we speak. He's just the most notable one right now, but there are others that are doing the same thing, and that is because of supply shock. That is going to drive the price through the roof. We haven't seen supply shock yet. We're not going to see supply shock anytime soon, but the idea is there's only 31 million Bitcoin out there. There's a bunch of it
21,
lost to
21,
cold
21.
21.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of it lost to cold wallets and idiocy. And so he has right now, technically, I think over 2% of the Bitcoin. There are other miners that have, or there are others that have a similar amount. But that's what he's trying to do. That's what he's trying to put that supply pressure on Bitcoin. And in doing so, he's trying to make himself exponentially wealthy. There are a lot of people who are concerned that he's leveraging too much of MicroStrategy. But again, people have been concerned about him buying Bitcoin since he started buying Bitcoin, and it has worked out very well for him. So I think this strategy is going to continue working out well for him. It's a bit of a circular logic. He offers shares for his company, and then he sells those shares, and then he takes that money and he buys Bitcoin with it to back his company. So there's a lot of people that think he's leveraging too much, but we'll have to wait and see. I think it's a smart idea to back your company with something like Bitcoin. So as he continues to do that, I think you're just going to see him get stronger and stronger, and his company get stronger and stronger, and the price of their stock getting stronger and stronger. I know he recently went through a free fall, but the larger market also fell. But yeah, I think that he's on his way to being exponentially wealthy because of this strategy.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We're still kind of early. I had a conversation with my neighbor and he says, "Well, why can't they just make more Bitcoin?" And that was a very hard conversation to explain to him. But why don't you give us the very, very brief summary? Why is Bitcoin at a fixed amount? Maybe for our new viewers who are like, well, they're printing dollars. Why can't there just be more Bitcoin made? Why don't you tell our viewers just in case they don't know? Because
Well,
sometimes we forget.
only so much will be mined from now until the end of Bitcoin mining, which I think is sometime next century. But that's it. There's a set supply of Bitcoin, and they can't make any more because that's it. The blockchain has been set. The amount has been set. So there's no programming, there's no programmers, there's no developers, there's no anything that can add more Bitcoin to the Bitcoin blockchain. It is set where it's at. And so the ones that are lost, we don't know exactly how much are there, but we do know that there's a lot of lost Bitcoin out there. And that it takes away from the 21 million, and that there's only that amount left. That's just the way Bitcoin works. It's not like the federal government where they can print more money as they see fit, or the central bank where they can print more money as they see fit. Bitcoin is a set supply. It will always be a set supply. It will never change.
All right, you wanted to give some viewers some inside tips on how to hopefully pick up some free crypto. Why don't you give us that information?
Well, there's gaming airdrops that are happening this year. And so this is the perfect time to pick up free tokens from these gaming companies. And some of these games are actually pretty popular. I'll go ahead and list the games. There's Off the Grid, Farm Friends, Wanderers, Zoo, On-Chain Heroes, Gold Cat or Cat Gold Miner, Tag Swap, Captain Sabusa Rivals, Seed, Infinigods, and Rumble Kong League are all going to do airdrops this year. But the best way to get in on those is to play the games. It seems to me that all of these airdrops happen when people are playing the games and playing them frequently. And so what's going to happen is, if you are a game player, eventually they're going to open up a wallet for you. And based on your gameplay, and there are all kinds of different things that you have to collect and do. And And I couldn't. We would spend another 20 minutes going over what you need to do in each individual game. But it comes down to gameplay, collecting things, building things, making your character or your tower or whatever stronger. As long as you're doing those things in these games, you're going to get a bigger airdrop. And we all know that once these tokens are airdropped, you can sell them straight away and make a lot of money. And it's found money. It's free money. And so, again, those are Off the Grid, Farm Friends, Wanderers, Zoo, On-Chain Heroes, Cat Gold Miner, Tag Swap, Captain Sabusa Rivals, Seed, Infinigolds, and Rumble Kong League. And Off the Grid is actually at the top of Epic Games' free games list. And they're going to be releasing a token called the Gun Token. So that's one to keep an eye on for sure. But again, it comes down to gameplay. If you want some of these free tokens, you've got to get onto these games and actually start playing.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, okay? That does take time, but if you're already playing games, why not? Why not? Now, if you're interested in just buying and holding, and I've talked about this a lot, iOS Network has woken up over the past 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Little under 25% bump here. You see, if you got iOS a week ago, oh boy, you'd be sitting pretty right now. Now, full disclosure, I've talked about this before. iOS is a decent size of my portfolio. And where are we right now? iOS Network, okay, all-time high is 267. We're still sitting at $1.10. The market cap is only 1.3 billion. I think this thing is a $5 billion market cap at the height. And we're now entering the meat of the bull run. You can kind of do the math. All right. I think this is a $3 token. At least. We're at $1.10. This is the height of the bull run. Now is not the worst time. Do your own research to get in. You could have gotten in this week at 75 cents. If you did, congratulations. But I like this one to get to $2 in the next 4 to 5 weeks, assuming there's no Bitcoin downfall, which I don't think there will be. This is one that's high on my list. I've talked about it. It's a DePIN. It's an AI play. It's a lot of things here. This one was doing really well at one point during the bull run, several times. It's one of my favorites. I'm still huge into Dogecoin, by the way, over the next few weeks. And Dogecoin, if you've noticed as well, Mr. FOMO, has shown some life. We're up to 38 cents. We were down all the way, actually, to 31 cents this week. Yep. So Doge got to 40 actually yesterday, I believe, and it's pulled back a little bit. So we're seeing now the alts slowly starting to rise. Not everything's going to rise at the same time, but iOS actually is one of the top movers at 25%. So I wanted to bring that up because that's when you see the alts really start to move, even when Bitcoin is just doing okay, that's when you know your time is limited. If you want to be a buyer, you don't want to be buying in March, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God.
That's going to be the time that you want to sell. And I hate to be hyperbolic. This might be your last chance to get in before prices really go up over the next 60 to 90 days. And the bull run is going to be limited. I hate to tell you the truth. It's not going to last all year. You're not going to have until July to pull the trigger. That's just
between now and April are going to be some of your strongest chances to make money. May Absolutely. We start talking about the Halloween indicator, where people start going away in May and staying away until October.
But you might, right? Nothing is for sure. The lights might go out in April. The lights might go out in March. You got to remember, we didn't expect an 8-month lull. Remember,
we didn't expect an all-time high before the halving.
So things are not exactly the same every single cycle, but I would be floored if the top was 110K, 108K, excuse me.
I would be shocked to see that.
I still think now Plan B, Mr. FOMO, I want to talk about this with you seriously on the air, still has us. His range is between 200 and 500K for this bull run. And Look at your face here. Let's get away from the iOS. I know. I don't think it's happening either. But are we being too pessimistic with our 150 to 180 call for the top? What are your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think Plan B, as good as he is, has made some hyperbolic predictions before. I think some of his predictions are further down the line. He likes to base it a lot on statistics, math, all kinds of stuff. But I still think you are further down the line from a 500K BTC than this cycle. I would be pleasantly surprised, pleasantly shocked if we got to 500K during this cycle. And it would take a massive amount of money. You're talking trillions of dollars dumping into Bitcoin to get it to that level. So while I love that prediction, and I have my fingers crossed and my toes crossed, hoping that happens, my gut tells me that that is a bit hyperbolic.
Well, I'm going to show you something that he posted a long time ago. Because I could show you something he posted now, but let's challenge the guy here. He posted this all the way back in 2019. This was the path towards a million. And you see here in 2025, right? What does he have us? He has us between the 100 and 1 million mark. And if you look at that chart, it's well over 100K. And he's stuck to this. Okay. Yeah, profit-taking videos, guys. Look, I'm glad Micah brought that up. Thank you for our listeners today. If iOS tomorrow, if I woke up tomorrow and iOS is at $4, I'm a seller. I got to lock in those profits. That's a huge return for me. So we can't tell you whether to take profits at 80%, 2x, a 3x, a 4x. If you're lucky enough, a 5 to 10x, like we saw with Luna. Some of people have made 100x's. It's possible, but here's the thing: if you have Dogecoin and it's sitting at 90 cents Wednesday afternoon, and people are saying it's going to go to $5, be careful. Be careful. I would personally I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. I would take those profits because these profits do not last forever. Sometimes you might go out to dinner and the profits might be gone in crypto. I'm not being hyperbolic. That literally happens. That literally happens, right, Mr. FOMO? You might send out a congratulatory post to all your friends about how much money you've made, and the next day the coins retraced 40%.
Yep, and that we saw it happen with SafeMoon, both of us back in the day. Profits were there, and then profits were gone, and so really, if you're uncomfortable taking profits, if you're like, well, this could go way higher. Do use a strategy like some of the strategies that I use. Maybe just take out your initial investment and then leave all your house money in there as your moon bag, or take out all your profits, take out a bunch of it and leave yourself maybe 10% of what is there and leave yourself a moon bag just in case these things pump. You don't have to sell the entire thing,
Great
but
point.
do protect yourself. If you get a 2x and you pull the profits, or if you pull your initial investment out of there, now it's all found money. That's all somebody else's cash you're playing with. And so my strategy is a lot like that. I'm accumulating as I go, and as it builds, I'm taking out my initial investments and I'm playing with house money a lot of the time. And then there's other times where I'm just going to sell the whole bag, like Dogecoin, like you said. If that doubles here in the next few months, I'm taking
few months. What about it? It could happen in the next 3 to 4 days. I'm not saying it will, but it's possible.
Well, yeah, anytime in the next couple of months, I'm taking that whole bag and probably shifting it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But again, there's several different strategies you can employ, but I like that one because it helps you accumulate and it takes your initial investments out of the equation. And so then after that, if you've taken your initial investment out and that's sitting on the sideline, it doesn't really matter what happens to what you've accumulated because that's all found money. That's all house money, somebody else's cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, keep it here for the latest. now that the holidays are over and both of us are not traveling, we can get back to doing regular shows this week. For Mr. FOMO Daisy Crypto, don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe and share the show. Store is open. Guys, have a wonderful